Hey, this is William for attackofthefanboy.com, and this is The Division beta on Xbox One. I'm here with Kyle Hansen. We both got a chance to play a good bit of this game in the closed beta. It is a closed beta, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So, what did you think? First impressions.
So I've been on a roller coaster with The Division. I think everyone else was very excited when it was first announced. It looked amazing. And then it kind of got that Ubisoft thing where it got downgraded and it didn't look as good. And I played it at E3 last year, and I thought it was okay. I really wasn't that excited. And for some reason, I don't know, this beta actually got me a little excited about it again. I've been enjoying it. Maybe it's not going to be a 10 out of 10 crazy, going to play all day and all night, but I think I'll definitely pick it up and put some time into it, especially if I have a group. How about you?
It's kind of the same, except I never played it before, so I kind of went into this fresh. Just like everyone else, I've been following the news since it was announced. When it started being delayed and the rumors were coming in that it was like they were really having trouble developing this game, I kind of just wrote it off as something that was probably either going to be bad or never come out. And this beta immediately changed my mind. I think most people agree that on the Xbox One this thing looks pretty good as far as the visuals go. And,
it does. Yeah.
And it hasn't been a secret. I like the loot-based systems of Destiny.
Yeah.
Diablo. And you can draw a lot of comparisons between this game and Destiny, I would say. Probably the closest comparison. And then it's also got some of its own unique stuff, and it seems like it's going to have, at least more of a story, a more easier to follow story than Destiny was at launch, I guess.
It's going to have a story, is what you're saying? It
I
will have a
thought the
plot
story for original Destiny
world.
was fine. I thought it was a good accompanying part to the loot stuff that Destiny had. I thought it was fine for what Destiny was trying to be. Obviously, they have made that better with time, but we're not talking about Destiny. We're talking about The Division.
But that comparison is actually, that was coming into my head all the time as I was playing this. It really is a lot like Destiny, but to me, it does what Destiny tried to do just a little bit better. From what little I've played here, and admittedly, I loved the Destiny beta, and then when the game came out, I was a little disappointed. So we could have the same thing happen here, but something about this does hit the same points that Destiny did, but I'm not exactly sure. I can't put my finger on it, but having a little bit of a better story, and just some of the mechanics feel like they work better than what Destiny presented.
Yeah, but you could be in. I don't want to write this game off by any means. I was actually, and I am more excited, and definitely excited for the March release. Now that I've gotten to play a small piece of it, but then again, it's hard to tell. Just how this is going to shape up.
I was trying to show some of those things, just because that community, it does tie into that. Destiny, you can't you run into other players, but there's no way to there's no easy way to team up, or at least there wasn't at launch. I think that they did add that a little bit later, but they really hit the community well. You can find all these players and view their information and invite them to a group and all of that. That is kind of necessary for a game like this, where teaming up is a huge part of it.
You could do that in Destiny.
In the beginning, I remember
yeah.
Kane in the whatever.
You just didn't like Destiny, so you chose to ignore all of its good features. It's okay.
All right.
You had a
fair point.
Full team of Destiny haters on our staff for the fall of 2014.
We did.
I liked it. Anyway,
yeah.
This thing is a little bit different, though. You're not just. It's more of open world. Than Destiny is. You're not just pointing to the map and going to instances or planets, smaller this thing looks huge as far as the map goes, and there's a lot of, main mission content, side content, random stuff that pops up that you would, think you would see in an open world game. It's a Ubisoft game, so when you pop open the map, there's going to be a ton of things to go do.
Yeah.
And they all reward you in different ways. I think the game's got a lot of unique and, maybe not unique, but, interesting systems as far as currency, clothing, your ammunitions, your different weapons, your different armor, and the way that you can customize your character seems to be, that's going to be the big hook. Like, that stuff has to be fun. And, that's the only thing that's going to make people go out into these different zones and try and tackle the different challenges that are in there.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, a big part of it is just the big map. I mean, this is only a small portion of it available in the beta, but it just does. It feels like a living world. The people are walking around. You see these Christmas lights up, and the map is huge. I didn't get a chance to really explore it all that much, but just the short time that I spent, you're always finding new areas, and there's alleyways, and you can get up onto the roof of a lot of buildings. So there's a lot of freedom to where you go, and like you said, as you walk around, you run into these events, which I run into a couple, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, when I was running around this world, they also nailed like New York. New York looks like New York should. Might be one of the better recreations of it that we've ever seen in an open world environment, and we've seen some okay ones like Grand Theft Auto 4 comes to mind, and they did a really good job of kind of condensing that massive multi-area city down into one. I think this is just Manhattan, though.
It is, yeah.
That we're running around in here. And, they did so well with it that I was, talking to friends and stuff. Like, I hope they do Chicago. Or, I hope they do some different, they have room if this thing works out and they, get people to buy into this, which it appears that people are liking it so far. I'd love to see them do, like, other cities at this level of detail.
Yeah, and I'm definitely anxious to check out the other areas. So what are your thoughts on the combat? I found it to be interesting. I really like the cover system. I think that works well. What are your thoughts?
That was another thing that came up, that I was constantly thinking about when, it's hard not to make the comparison to Destiny. And, some things are forgivable in that game because the gunplay is so good.
Yeah, that's true.
And in The Division, I don't think it's that great. It's a third-person game, so it can't be nearly as precise and fluid. But when it comes to third-person shooters, it's pretty good. It kind of has that Gears of War cover system feel, maybe more along the lines of like an Uncharted. I would say.
Yeah, and I mean it is a Tom Clancy game, and they're definitely keeping. I mean, it's definitely not realistic like a lot of Tom Clancy games have tried for, but they still are adding some of that to it. I mean, when you're shooting, it's not completely precise. You're not just firing, a bullet that just goes straight. There's a little bit of motion, and you get recoil and all of that sort of stuff. So you kind of have to play into that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but you can also, like, the customization stuff, if you're having a hard time dealing with certain guns, they definitely vary wildly in the way that they handle the different, LMGs, assault rifles, pistols, SMG guns. They all have different feels to them, so, at least I like that. I did a lot of, like, I'm going to go grab this loot, and I'm going to try out this new gun, or I'm going to sell it and buy some new weapons.
Yeah.
That was my whole thing with this game, is why I kind of liked it and enjoyed playing it, could see myself playing it more, was like, as soon as you get that hook in with the loot and trying to better your character, I kind of get excited about that. Those are the things that I like.
Yeah.
If that stuff feels good and they feel different enough to make you want to keep doing those things in the game to allow you to progress and earn better stuff.
Yeah.
But it's, I guess, my major questions are going to be more along the lines of like the end game. How long is this fun for? At what point do I get sick of doing that third person shooting? And I didn't reach that point.
Yeah, I think the Dark Zone is the key to that. I think, that's where, and we'll get into the Dark Zone a lot more later, but that's where the big loot is, and that's where most of the interactions are going to take place between players.
I think that's where a lot of the exciting stuff comes into play, because this is the other hook to the single player side of the game. This base mechanic where you're going into these 3 different wings and you are going out on missions to gather supplies for each wing, and as you progress each wing, you earn power-ups for that skill class. So if you're a medical character, you can earn perks in your medical tree as you progress through this side of the base. Or I think the other ones are security and tech.
Tech, yeah. Yeah, and in the beta, it's only medical that you can upgrade. But the other 2 are there, and you kind of get a good idea of what they're going to do in the main game. Yeah, I mean, is this always? Do we know? Is this all the secure base? This is the only base that you're going to have, and you're going to upgrade it, or have they said if there's going to be more bases?
I'm not sure. It seems like it would take quite a while to upgrade all 3 of those paths.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I mean, it's a pretty big map. Like I'm looking at. So maybe you get a base in different areas. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see how this base mechanic works. I could see, getting into this and really spending a lot of time trying to get my base into ship shape, make sure it's all upgraded and everything.
Yeah, but the only thing you really get out of it is the perks, from what I could see.
Yeah.
So it all ties back into leveling up your character, which leads me to believe where the end game content for this is it going to be something similar to Destiny, where you're doing like raids or instances or stuff like that. Because I didn't see anything like that or anything that looked like that in this beta.
No, yeah, this is definitely just the surface. Whether there's more beyond that, we'll have to wait and find out.
But there was a lot of other stuff in the beta, like the crafting. You go out and find blueprints. You can use this situation board to find new missions to take on. They had vendors over to the other side that allow you to kind of turn in currency or buy and sell weapons for the different parts for your mods or your gear or your guns. So there's definitely a lot of stuff in here for you to do, but we just have to wait and see like how much. Like for me, I just don't know like how long I want to do just this. There's got to be something else that kind of keeps you going after you finish this, right?
Yep.
And like we already says, like the Dark Zone or whatever, but even that, I wasn't 100% sure like that could hold my attention for any length of time outside of like a couple of weeks past release.
And that's been a big problem for games like this. I mean, they focus in so much on these mechanics like upgrading your character, but yeah, like you said, what if you reach the point where you don't care about your character anymore?
Or you've just maxed it out and you like where your character is. There's no room to grow. Like with we keep going back to Destiny, but it's just the most.
It surprisingly is the closest
comparison
I did not think it was going to be, but
to make. Bungie has had to kind of move the goalposts as they've gone, with DLC, and just say, well, okay, now you can go to here. We're putting some new weapons in there. We're putting some new armors in there, and I think we haven't given them enough credit for like all the different types of weapons, the rarity of them, and that game has managed to keep players coming back to it. because people want to get all the weapons, you know, and they've done a good job with that loot stuff. So, you know, I think that's probably a lesson
Well,
Ubisoft would have to take into consideration for this game being so similar.
and this one might have a problem just because it is the real world. It's our weapons that we can't have some really cool looking super weapon. They just don't exist in our world, so that might become a problem. And I know, and I wanted your thoughts on this. A lot of people have been complaining about the time to kill with enemies because they are humans wearing usually normal clothing, and yet they take multiple, shots. Some of the bosses take actually a lot of time to take out. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it just depends on where you're at in the game. It's zoned, so like if you're fighting against people that are your level, they go down pretty quick. Like that guy went down. You're a level 4. He's a level 4. He went down with just a couple of shots.
Yeah.
Like if you're it really depends on what those people were talking about. Like if you're in the dark zone and you're in a level 8 and you're a level 5, it's going to take you a while to kill those enemies. I mean, and I noticed that.
But does that break your immersion in the game? Does it bother you in some way?
I just think that's a gameplay system thing that's kind of hard to get around. I mean, if you really want to, if you're talking about like breaking the immersion of it or the reality of it, I think a lot of those higher enemies that at least that I saw in the Dark Zone were armored.
Yeah.
It looked like they had more armor on them. They just looked more powerful than the standard. Yeah, exactly. Once they had like flamethrowers and stuff, they seemed like they had a little bit more armor. So, yeah, I mean, the guys I saw that were taking a lot of shots. Yeah, it's kind of annoying, and like if you don't have the weapons or skill level to take them down, it sucks to have to shoot them, 30 times from a distance, because if you get up close to them, they kill you right away. Yeah, I could see how that sucks. That sucks in a lot of games, but I think it's a matter of like where you're leveled, probably for a lot of it.
It's probably just going to end up being one of those where if it bothers you, this isn't the game for you.
Yeah, it's probably...
It's a necessary element. I mean, if you can kill everyone in this game with a headshot, one single headshot, the game doesn't work. So
yeah, it stops working right there. But I mean, for me, I didn't feel like that. No, not at all.
Okay. I noticed it, but it didn't bother me. And then I saw a lot of people online were complaining about it. So just wanted to put that out there, see what everyone thought.
So this is one of the not single player. You played it single player, apparently.
Yeah, I did.
I did too. The first one I first kicked off in the beta. I didn't notice. I did play it again with friends, and I didn't notice that there were more or higher level enemies. But it seemed like you could pick a skill level similar to how you did it in Destiny.
Raise the difficulty a little bit.
Yeah, so I guess that would raise the level of the guys, the characters.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I didn't have anyone.
I don't know if we changed
play with me, so I tried it out by myself. But I was actually surprised that it did play well, just playing by myself. So that was a good thing to see. It wasn't too bad. The Dark Zone, don't go into the Dark Zone by yourself unless you're going really quick.
This is not a game you want to play by yourself.
It's not, no. But you can. It's
you
not the way.
You can play it by yourself, but you would be much better off to even meet some people on here and try to play with them than to play this by yourself. Because so much of it just revolves around, especially like you said in the Dark Zone, but even... I was enjoying the beta, but then when I started playing it with friends, I really started like, I could see getting on here, a couple nights a week and playing with you guys doing this, for sure. It was fun.
Yeah. Now, I will say, you said that it looks good, and it does. But I think this game really demands, for me, to be played on PC. I really, really want to see because it does look good on Xbox One. It does, but I want to see what it can look like with everything turned up to max.
Really? I mean, I don't know. Ubisoft has never really done that night and day
They apparently did with this one.
Oh, really?
They've been talking about it. You know, showing off the options you have and saying that they specifically said like it's not just a port. They focused on PC and made sure that it was optimized. Like the UI, I don't know if you were bugged by it, but a lot of people haven't liked the menu system. I feel like it's cluttered and everything. On PC, you can literally move those to wherever you want on the screen. Different stuff like that that are exclusive on the PC version that I'm definitely interested in checking out.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to put up with cheating, and I don't have a 980 yet, so I don't know that I'm going to play this on PC because I don't think my card would. My card would probably be better than the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Or PS4 version, but then again, it all comes down to like how well this game is optimized. They can come out and say that all they want, but their track record of like the last few PC releases for these guys has been not good. Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed, a lot of Ubisoft games on PC have been pretty bad. So, you know, until we see that, which would be nice for PC players if this one does have all those options, it works out like that, it's optimized, it doesn't come out busted. That would be great because PC players in Ubisoft had a rough couple of years.
Yeah. How have you liked the abilities that you can assign? So you can assign two different abilities to on Xbox, the bumper buttons. I at this time only had a couple unlocked.
Yeah, I think you can unlock a few.
Yeah,
I think you can unlock one or two for each branch.
Yeah.
Depending on which way you go with that. I did all medic, so I used like the group heal.
Okay.
And the sonar. Yeah. And then I upgraded the sonar a little bit. Show me where like items and stuff were.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. I didn't check out all of them. I know like what is it? One of them's like a shield.
Yeah, I was using the shield earlier. I thought it was going to be kind of worthless. It wasn't. It was actually pretty nice. You can pop it out. Like I had a guy up at the top of the stairs. It was just earlier on, and you can. So I pulled out the shield and I was able to go up the stairs without him, you know, destroying me. And then you can just shoot him with your pistol. So I liked it. Yeah.
So you're heading to the Dark Zone entrance?
I am. Yeah, I'm almost there.
Okay, so we could talk all day about the single-player cooperative stuff. For me, I've had the most fun with this game in the Dark Zone, which is, I don't know if you had the same kind of experience, but me and some friends really got into the Fragile Alliance sort of gameplay that they have on the other side of this wall. Did you kind of dive into that at all?
I was by myself, but I had a lot of moments where I haven't had a amazing moment yet, but I've had a lot of moments that hinted at it, and I can see what you're talking about. You'll see here I get killed pretty quickly, but then later on, you know, I'm back in here and kind of see some other players, and we're kind of wary around each other. You know, I could attack them, but I'm all alone. They have a group. There's a lot of that almost DayZ sort of experience with other players where you're not sure, almost what DayZ tried to do, because they attack me here and now they're rogue and everyone is, you know, aware of them and knows that they're bad guys that are killing people.
Yeah, you got to run for it, man. When someone shoots you, you just gotta go. We were kind of comparing it to Kane and Lynch. I don't know if you ever played that back in the day, but
no, I didn't.
The multiplayer was unique in that if there was one good thing about that game, it was that in the multiplayer you could turn on your teammates and try and take all the loot.
Oh,
so
okay.
that's why people are killing you in the Dark Zone if you didn't figure it out. You might not have because you didn't have any loot, but when you're in the Dark Zone, when you fight enemies, they'll drop loot, and it's, you know, signaled by like the green stems, blue stems,
And it's the higher end loot.
It's supposedly higher end. I gathered a lot of stuff out of the Dark Zone, and if you're running around the Dark Zone after you've collected that loot, you're fair game. And that's, you can tell you have the loot on your character by there'll be a contamination bag underneath your go bag or whatever that thing is. You know what? Have you seen that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So
I actually did an extraction.
Oh, you got one extracted
myself.
out of there?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not in this video, but I watched some other players do some extractions.
Yeah, and that is kind of like I think that's the only core mechanic of this thing, or like the only rule is get loot, get it to the chopper. Because this is what they have for multiplayer. It doesn't seem to be that there's going to be any team deathmatch or conquest or anything like that. It's just roam around this Dark Zone and get your loot to the chopper so you can get it off and put it in your stash.
Yeah, I think that there are actually like instanced levels, because I know the section that I played at E3 was a Dark Zone thing, but it was like they specifically set up teams of 4 and had us face off against each other. So I think that's going to be a thing where you can set up matches in the Dark Zone. But yeah, this is kind of the open world version of the Dark Zone.
Okay. See, I wasn't sure if this was the whole thing in the Dark Zone or not. I don't know why they wouldn't be beta testing that stuff if that's the case. But, you know, running around here with friends, we had a lot of fun. It's just like, there's a straggler. Let's kill him and take all his shit. Or, you know, knowing you're outnumbered and you know, running away, hiding behind cars, firing while the other guy runs and covering and doing all that stuff. It's a lot of fun. We're having a good time with it. But again, just like every other thing in this game, it's like, how long does that fun last? Am I going to be wanting to play this for months or not? And
yeah,
it's hard to tell.
Especially because you can get, you could have a group that just kind of goes around murdering everyone. And maybe that won't be super fun for smaller groups or anything like that. I could see bullies becoming annoying in this mode.
Yeah, there were definitely some bullies in our game who were just going rogue every chance they had to kill other people, because they had 4. So unless there was, and we only had 3. So unless we had another person, it wasn't even a fair fight to begin with. But yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that as well.
Yeah, here I actually helped these guys out. I just felt like being a nice guy. Saw those guys go rogue, so I just kind of helped them take them out. But yeah, I guess we should say how extraction works in case people aren't in the beta. So you get the loot, and then you have to go to a spot and call in the chopper.
Right.
And that timer goes off, but then everyone nearby knows that you've called that chopper, which means you have gear.
Yeah, and that's
so they're gonna
somebody has gear.
Gear.
Right, they know somebody has gear, and you know they're looking for the players with those satchels on their back, and you know, either when you're getting ready to get your loot out of there, you've got to be ready for somebody trying to shoot you in the back, throwing a grenade at you. I saw multiple times where somebody would just be sitting back here shooting into that pile of people.
Yeah.
At the extraction point, hoping to kill them all and get, you know, swipe up all their gear and then extract it themselves, which I saw plenty of times. So that's the unique thing, I guess, about the Division's Dark Zone, is just that kind of fragile alliance. You never know if someone's going to turn on you. And then it has those elements of like DayZ and stuff where if you are roaming around the streets, you don't know, is this person friendly? Is this person going to shoot me when I run past him? You can exchange pleasantries, and you can hear people talking. You can wave at them and do jumping jacks and do all sorts of stuff to kind of signal that you're friendly. But you know, you always run the risk of that person just saying, screw it.
Yep.
I'm gonna shoot this guy.
Yeah. Which they've been pushing pretty hard. I mean, they even brought that up in their marketing for this game. So it is what they're going for. It's the problem is that relies on people. So it's
and
really
everyone is a piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no doubt about it. Like every single person is a piece of shit that is at least thinking about killing you when you turn your back to them.
Yeah.
And if you have loot on you, They're trying to kill you whether you have loot or not. But if you have one of those satchels on you and you're by yourself, you're probably getting killed.
Yep. And what is it with rogue? So if you shoot another division player or just another player, you go rogue. But if no one sees you, or you at least kill everyone that sees you, does that go away?
It does go away with time.
So, okay.
There's a timer that starts kicking down. And like if you started shooting, if you were on a team and you shot somebody, your team goes rogue. So everybody that's with you in your group goes rogue at the same time. And then if no one shoots at you and hits you, I believe your countdown timer just keeps ticking down. But if you're hit, somebody hits you, it starts going up. And the more people you kill, I believe you get more notoriety, I guess. And then I think you get a higher bounty placed on your head.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, and this guy's way too trusting of me because I could actually just shoot him, but I didn't want to be a jerk. So
the point is to be on the same team.
Yeah.
The point is to take out the rogue people, I think. But I was always trying to roll around and say, hey, let's let them shoot at us first. Because you can also bait them into shooting you by like just maybe firing.
Not hit them, just like give them a warning shot.
Yeah, basically, and then you can kind of bait them into fighting, and they'll go rogue, and you'll have the numbers. There's a lot of things you can do, but I had fun with this mode. I just don't know, like I said.
I'm with you. Yeah.
How much more of this is there, and does this stuff get old at a point? Because I did run into some zones that had higher level enemies, bigger groups, harder to kill groups. And there's also like Dark Zone chests all over the place, which you can open and get high-end loot out of as well. But again, it comes down to at what point does getting more loot get old?
It hasn't gotten old for...
No, because you're in there right now, you're saying, well, if I can get some more loot and armor and all that stuff, I can go in and I won't get killed so easily at this point, But at some point, everybody levels off, right?
Yep.
And it's just hard to judge since it's a beta. But, so, do you have any final thoughts on The Division?
No, I am cautiously optimistic for it. This beta was more fun than I thought it was going to be, but I did admittedly have low expectations going in. I am intrigued though. If the systems that they've put in place work the way that they want them to, I think it will be a very interesting experience, especially in the Dark Zone. It's just a question of how the community takes these systems and runs with them. So it's kind of a wait and see for me, but I think there's enough there for a lot of people to enjoy this game.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I want to see a lot more of it though before I'm like, I like this game, I don't like this game. I don't want to pass judgment on it quite yet. I think I need to see what's going on at the end game to really get a good idea of what this game actually is going to offer in terms of like longevity. But that was The Division, the closed beta on Xbox One. It's also on PC and PS4 for about another day now. For Kyle, I'm William for attackofthefanboy.com.